Hey, everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower here by myself. So, welcome to the show. Welcome, Squad. I'm very glad that you are all here with me. I do have some sad news, and that is that true crime pup Rico crossed the Rainbow Bridge last night. So, Katie is taking some time for herself today. She said she didn't think she could stop crying to be on the internet today, and I thought, well, I would feel the same way. So here's our little Rico. Rico was 11. When Katie and Scott got Rico, he weighed less than a pound. He sort of looked like a hamster with really long, skinny legs. He was the craziest looking chihuahua I'd ever seen in my life. Rico, however, grew up to be a very handsome and very sweet young man. And we all love Rico very much. Rico is part of the three dogs that my sisters, we each got a puppy, a Chihuahua puppy, the year that our dad died. And so it's a big loss to lose Rico. Katie is okay, but she definitely needed a day down to grieve and deal with the situation. So just any love you can send Katie's way would be much appreciated. She could use it. And, she's got Bruno and Luca and Nellie and the two pigs, Zig and Fiona, to help keep her spirits up as well, fortunately, because we're never single animal households in my family, ever. Courtney says, regardless of age and circumstances, there's no pain like it. It's unique and devastating. Yeah, it is. It is. Losing a pet, for us is losing a family member, and I know it is for a lot of you as well. Yes, she did post a beautiful post on Facebook talking about Rico and her experiences with Rico. Rico was a one of a kind dog. He really had a personality about him that was irreplaceable. He was so funny and fun, and we're all gonna miss him, and our dogs are gonna miss him too. Yeah. Danielle says we lost two Bassets, Linus and Lucy, before the pandemic, and it was awful. They were our kids, right? They are our kids, damn it. Rico will be missed, and now he can hang out with Peanut and Fred, cause all kinds of furry chaos, right? I know. Rico's very best friend in the whole world was Skippy, Katie's little Chihuahua that passed a couple of years ago. And he's right up there with Skippy and his very favorite cousin Leo, who passed over the summer, as well as lots of other dogs. So, yeah, it's sad. I'm glad for him though that, I mean, he had lung cancer. There just wasn't anything that could be done. Poor little guy. So I'm glad that he's out of suffering, but it sucks. Nobody wants to lose a pet. So it's just me today, but I do have three cases to share with you. Let's start with this super baddie right here, Jazelle Pelicot. Here is Gisele. Gisele has now made her final statement before the court in her husband and all of the men who sexually assaulted her trial. So if you recall, Gisele Pelicot is the French woman whose husband, over a 10-year period, was drugging her and then inviting other people to come into the house to rape her. And he was filming these events. There's somewhere believed to be nearly 80 actual offenders. 51 of them, including Dominique, her husband, are on trial. They haven't been able to track down the others. But I mean, this has been a crazy trial. It's so big. It's so many people to try. And Giselle has been such a rock star that she didn't have to be. This could have been um, done more privately. Her name could have been protected, but she didn't want that. She wanted people to know who she is and to see her face, and she wanted to stand up against what was done to her, which I think every single person in a situation like that has to make the decision that's best for them. But I think that we really have to thank Giselle for being willing to represent the face of sexual assault like this, um, in order to really be the face of cases that other women don't feel that they can be. And that's okay. Both is great, but she is standing up so strong, and I really, really admire her for that. So Giselle is 71 years old now. So on November 18th, um, all of her children testified in the trial. This is going on in Avignon, France. David Pelicot, her son, said, "Our family has been destroyed. I expect from this trial that these men and Dominique will be punished for the horrors they inflicted on my mother." David also said that the family destroyed pictures of Dominique. So they have officially kicked their dad out of their family, which I think probably had to be pretty healing for them, and I would imagine it was something that they really needed to do to be able to move forward. Florian Pellico, who is another of Giselle's sons, called for punishment, asking for a lengthy sentence so that victims no longer need to be afraid of speaking up. Florian also testified that this case has broken up his own marriage. These guys have been through a lot. This has been a big trauma for all of them. Caroline Durian, which is the pen name of Giselle's daughter, she doesn't use her real name publicly, uh, has previously testified, like we've talked about, that she believes that she was also drugged and assaulted, that she's got some questions about some of her own experiences. Because if you remember, she had Giselle for years thought there was something wrong with her. She was losing time and she was very unsteady and didn't dare drive and all kinds of things that indicated that something was wrong. And the daughter is, putting the pieces together for herself as well now, which is really awful. She says the only difference between my mom and me is the lack of evidence concerning me. For me, it's an absolute tragedy. She's only 24. So, as we know, 51 men are on trial, accused of the assaults of Giselle. She spoke to the court for the final time yesterday. She called this trial a trial of cowardice, definitely. She also said it's time that the macho patriarchal society that trivializes rape charges, it's time we change the way we look at rape. So we just have to give all of our love to Jazelle Pelicot and her family and hope that all of these men get the absolute book thrown at them, that they go to prison for a very long time, and that their names are well known so that if they are ever to be released, people will be able to protect themselves from these disgusting human beings. Also, it will rid this community of a large number of sex offenders. I can't imagine what it's done to their small community that this many people, lots of them right from their area, are all going to go to prison. Some of them are in jail now, some of them are bonded out. Chances are that they're all going to go away. I mean, there's literally video of them assaulting Giselle. So it's quite the case. Another case that I wanted to make you aware of, I just learned about this one today. Another pastor has been sentenced for sexually assaulting children, this time It's his own kids. This is James Cowan. He's 46 years old, and he has pled guilty, this is in Arkansas, to 3 counts of rape involving his minor children and has been sentenced to 50 years in prison. He pled guilty on November 12th. He also received 30 years of a suspended sentence upon release. So, hopefully they'll be able to keep an eye on him. He has to do 70% of his sentence or 35 years, which would make him 81 years old at the time of being released from prison. So it's basically a life term, which I think is good. I don't think that anyone should have to uh, feel at risk from this man ever again. Now, just so you know, he is the former pastor of the Little River Community Church in Winthrop, Arkansas. So any of our Arkansans who are watching, if you are familiar with this guy, or if you aren't, um, he was from your community. Sounds like the children are recovering, but they're struggling. Uh, they were supposedly being homeschooled at the time that this abuse was going on, and they were not really getting homeschooling and have experienced educational neglect on top of the trauma of being sexually abused by their father. One of the victims actually spoke up, and that's how the authorities knew about this case, which again, very brave. I can't imagine being a child speaking up for your own dad. It's awful. Right, Janet? Throw away the key. Paula says Giselle is the epitome of you go girl. Isn't she? She's amazing. Amazing. Glad to hear that Kathy is doing better. I know she hadn't been feeling well. It's nice to see you all here in the chat. I know my energy's a little slow today. I'm sure you can understand why. But we didn't want to just not have a show. So definitely I wanted to bring you a few things. Right, Christine, just one of many. So much religious control and abuse. Yeah. I'm getting a show ready for you that is a study of Mormon bishops who have been convicted of sex crimes since 1990, courtesy of floodlit.org. They just put out some new information, and I'm going to do a show on it for you here probably next week. We got to keep talking about these religious folks who are abusing children. We got to keep talking about these pastors and bishops and all of them. We got to keep reminding people that the real danger to our kids is these kind of folks. And I know a lot of people don't want to face that, but it is really uh, very much the case. People need to stop leaving their children at church and not leaving them, but expecting that they're going to be safe and that they don't really have to keep an eye on things, because it's definitely not the case at all. So that is the latest pastor. And now I have kind of a funny story for you. I want to tell you about Thelma and Louise. South Carolina is kind of having a rough go right now, particularly when it comes to escaped animals. We talked about the rhesus monkeys, which last I heard there are still like 5 monkeys on the run from that research facility in South Carolina, which I'm saying go monkeys. And if any of you have one in your basement, good for you. They shouldn't have to go back to that bullshit. Um, right, Mustafa. As opposed to every alleged trans person. Right. That's not who's abusing children, is it? It is these religious men that is who's abusing children. We know that to be the case. Okay, well, let me tell you about Thelma and Louise. Thelma and Louise are emus, and they have been on the run now for 3 months. And last week, the Horry County Police Department wrote, I think on their social media, a post about the missing birds. And the headline was, "We are not emused, emused." So the police became aware that there were a couple of missing emus, and there have been some sightings of them. And let's see, here's one of them. I don't know if this is Thelma or Louise, but she's looking rather pleased with herself. This was a picture that someone posted on the owner's original Facebook post. Here it is. It says, "For everyone that keeps seeing an emu, yes, it is mine. There are two of them out. They got loose 3 months ago. They are feral and not trained like the ones we have at the house." I kind of thought all emu were feral. We are trying to get a tranquilizer approved so we can bring them home. Thank you for all the concerns and questions. But if the emus were that easy to catch, they would be home already." These emus are pretty tough, and you can see somebody posted that one picture, having seen one there recently. I think anyone would be rather surprised to just see an emu somewhere in town. Not we would here. I don't, and there are some people that keep emus here, but I don't think we would be emus. But I think I would be real surprised. Oh, the H in Horry County is silent. Thank you, Kristi. As soon as I said it, I thought, oh no. Do they really say it that way? The whole concept of them being feral is uh, hilarious to me because I can't imagine emus who are not feral, right? So let me tell you a little bit more about what's going on here. So they don't have an update about the missing birds. If they get some, they'll post it, but so far they have not caught them. Sam Morris, who is the owner of the birds, said they decided they wanted to hop the fence when we were trying to grab one of them to move her to another paddock, and well, she didn't like that. So she's living the wild life. Well, both of them are. Let's see. They're feral, not trained like the ones we have at the house. Local law enforcement has already been at my house. We are trying to get a tranquilizer approved so we can bring them home. Still got to find them to shoot them with the tranquilizer. So an emu is a large flightless bird. They are the second largest living bird, second only to the ostrich. They have an average height of more than 5.5 feet tall. They are taller than me. Um, Females, like the ones who escaped in South Carolina, can weigh more than 130 pounds. And these animals are not native to the United States. They're naturally native only to Australia. So they're in unfamiliar territory. One person wanted to know if herding dogs could help. But Morris said that one of the emus had been attacked by three wild dogs and that she managed to kill them before they killed her. Emus can be real dangerous, like ostriches can. They have very strong legs and big claws. They can kick the living shit out of you if they want to. A community member said, "I was pretty shocked, and so was my wife. Like, is that an emu next to the fire station?" And I turned around to take a picture, and it was gone. My goodness. So, if you live in that area of South Carolina, keep your eye out. Here's a picture of one of them. This is either Thelma or Louise, and they are just out living it up. Hopefully, they're hoping never to be caught. Clearly, they have no interest in coming home. But if you see one, you might want to call the Horry County Police and let them know because they, at some point, may try to tranquilize them and bring them home. Ah, Moses Law says, yeah, they take care of the rattlesnakes on the property for sure. Yes, I've heard that they do kill these snakes. Whew. Yes, they've got zoomies and can kick a punch. All right. Yes, Christine, I do think all birds are a little feral, but when they're taller than I am, I'm a little scared. I'm not going to say that I'm not. Yeah, Courtney, you're right. Feral just means not socialized to humans, so I'm thinking people have socialized to humans. Yes, and it sounds like they have others that are socialized, but these girls were not yet socialized. They do kick like hell. Hmm. Kick, scratch, and peck all at the same time. Emus, right? Can you imagine just walking out your front door one day and there's one standing next to your car? I would imagine that they really are skittish around people and probably just run if they see you. I would not want to have to be the one trying to catch them, though. I can see why they're trying to get some kind of tranquilizer so that they can use that because they're not going to be able to get very close to them. And it's not like they can get a hold of them unless they are sedated. Oh, really? Moses Law says Julia Roberts' ostriches at her New Mexico ranch always escaped and appeared in our yards. Ooh, I'm even more scared of ostriches, man. They are huge and they will kick the shit out of you. Wowza. I always kind of think of ostriches kind of in the same league as moose. You know, a moose will stomp anything to death if it's feeling threatened, and I think that ostriches do that only they have big claws. So I don't know, man. North Carolina or South Carolina, get your shit together. I don't know what is happening. Christy says comedy shows use South Carolina headlines instead of writers for their scripts. I think so. There seems to be quite a lot going on in old South Carolina right now. Uh, Stephen Colbert did a bit about the monkeys and the emus, and he said the reason that those last five monkeys have not been caught is because they're riding the emus. Duh. I thought that was pretty great. It is kind of wild to have, animals like that, multiple kinds running loose in your community at the same time. But hopefully they'll find them. I hope they find them safely, and I hope that they can tranquilize them safely and get them back into the to an enclosure where they are safe because they're not native to South Carolina. I would imagine that there are predators that would probably kill them, and they're not familiar with them. So I would like for Thelma and Louise to return safely. I hope they don't have to run off a cliff to get away from the police. And with that, that's everything I've got for you today. So we will be back tomorrow night with case updates. And it is also the watch party, and we're going to be watching This is the Zodiac Speaking, episode 1. So if you want to participate in that, go to our website, truecrimesquad.com. Go to Buy Me a Coffee, which is a great way to tip us at Buy Me a Coffee. And or you can also sign up for a monthly subscription there that gives you access to the watch party. We all watch on our own devices, but we have an open chat. We're going to chat together. This documentary is amazing. It is so good. It is also pretty terrifying, but I also think it really puts to bed who the Zodiac Killer was. So we're going to watch the first episode. There are 3. I am sure you will want to watch the other 2 because it's very good. Oh, AU mom says, I'm from Maine. We were chased by a moose when I was a teenager, and my dad and I were hiking on the Appalachian Trail. Wow, yeah. Um, I am not surprised. I have been around moose a lot my whole life. I've never been chased by one because I've been very, very careful. But yeah, they can be really scary. But I think ostrich is right up there with them, and emu just down from that. So be careful. Oh, good. Moses Law says, buy me a coffee link worked well, just loaded a bit slow. It does load a little bit slow, so be patient with it, but you're going to want to join our chat for tomorrow night because holy canary, this is quite the story about who the Zodiac really was and the people that knew him. Wild. So, yes, lots of love for Katie and her family. They certainly are grieving right now, losing Mr. Rico, and they will appreciate that so much. And with that, this has been another production of True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.